Hello everybody, this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to continue the series on Confessions of an Obese Child and talk about my experiences at the Big and Tall store. Now before I begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has a lot of articles and recipes. Check out my podcast, my books, and if you appreciate my content, please make a donation via the PayPal link. All right, definitely I'll put in a banner for the ongoing series of Confessions of an Obese Child, where we go back and talk about my youth and some of the experiences that I had. So today we're going to talk about the Big and Tall store. So as I've mentioned before, and the thumbnail for all these series is the same. It's the only picture that I have of fat me. I reached size 54, 56 waist. That was the apex of my obesity when I was in high school. And you can't find those pants at Montgomery Ward, when Montgomery Ward existed, or Sears. So I had to go to the Big and Tall store. And the Big and Tall store I found to be quite fascinating. I had mentioned that I had gotten so fat in the locker room episode that I couldn't wear the school designated red shorts because our mascot colors were red and white, school colors. So my mom, the only shorts she could find were hot pink. So I had to wear these 3XL hot pink pants, and the kids used to steal my pants to see how many of them could fit in it. It was like five. And it was the same thing with my uniform vest. They didn't have the size for, I think their biggest size was maybe XL, and I was so fat when in sixth grade that they had to get two vests and sew them together, so I'd wear that, and kids of course would pick on me there. But the Big and Tall store, I couldn't get my uniforms there, but I had to get my school uniform was white polo shirt, blue pants, and the school understood that I was so fat that I couldn't get them at the uniform store. Then they made me continue to wear the vest, the two sewn together. But they allowed me to go and find pants and shirts that fit me because the uniform store didn't have my size. Hence the Big and Tall store. Now I grew up in Houston. Luckily it was a big enough city. I mean, if I lived in a small town, and this was of course pre-Amazon, you were kind of screwed, right? But I lived in a town that had a couple Big and Tall stores, and they were really far away from where I lived. They were away out East Houston. So I distinctly remember going there, 8-10 times in my high school life. And let me tell you, Big and Tall stores, as you know, is a euphemism. It really should be freakishly tall and morbidly overweight store, but they can't call it that, right? And then you look at, if you've never been in one, they'll have models, like pictures of models on the wall. And they're all, and look, this has changed because now we're body positive, and future episodes, I'm not a big fan of the body positive movement. But you see Victoria's Secret is throwing away their old mannequins for full figure mannequins because they want to be more embracing of the full figured women, which is essentially enabling obesity because now we're just conceding the point that everybody's fat and they want to make money, so they need to sell lingerie of larger sizes. Well, that's a business decision. But back in the 80s, you go to these stores, and the models were all, of course, handsome, tall, like 6'6". So that was the tall dude. Of course, they're handsome, right? Because they're models. They want you to imagine that you can look like them. They're not going to have the freakishly weird, tall, elephant man-esque guy as their poster, because then you'd realize that you're freakishly weird and fat and tall. And then the fat people were more like kind of Shaq. So Shaq got into the league in like 91, 92. So it wanted to be Shaq, but it was, like stocky, but not like morbidly overweight. Anyway, so I would go there, and I remember looking at the other people that were in there, and everybody in there kind of reeked of loserdom and desperation. And I remember one time going there, and there was like another teenage guy there, and we just kind of made eye contact. We were there with our moms, and it was just like, yeah, we're horrible pieces of crap, right? That we have to shop at these places and try to find 3XL, 4XL, 5XL. And again, this is a time where you couldn't get these sizes on Amazon. And it was just embarrassing, right? Because the other thing about Big and Tall stores is that they don't have top of the line fashion, right? So a lot of the pants and the shirts that you find there are just really ugly, just really out of fashion. And yeah, I mean, in the late 80s, the fashion was kind of like baggier clothes, parachute pants, remember the 80s and all that. But the clothes there were just hideously ugly. But at the same time, it's like, this is all I had. So if you looked at my wardrobe at the peak of my obesity was essentially 5 shirts, 4 pants, and a couple of t-shirts, because that's all I could wear. And I'll tell you this, when I lost my weight, even when I started losing my weight, my mom didn't believe that I was going to keep it up, so she kept all the old fat clothes. But that's another episode. But the big and tall stores, and I feel for the girls. I would really feel for the girls, the fat girls at the time, because there's so much more pressure on women to look good. They're more judged on their physical appearance, of course. And I would feel really bad for the really, really fat girls that would go in there to the store, because their fashion was even worse. What kind of dresses can you really get for 200-pound girls? So it was just a store of sadness. And I get it. I think my mom too was kind of embarrassed that she had to shop at a store like this, because parents do live vicariously through their kids. And this is an episode we'll talk about with my father upcoming. And I think it was embarrassing to her to have to shop here. But at the same time, what other choice did she have? I couldn't wear any clothes that you could get at Sears or Montgomery Ward. I clearly was binge eating. They would take me to the dietitian, but as I mentioned in the first episode, I loved food more than I loved myself. And the self-loathing from all the bullying and knowing that I was a horrible piece of crap just kept me to eat. So what was she gonna do? She wasn't gonna throw a hefty bag over me. She had to find clothes for me. And so I do feel a little bad for her, but ultimately, my mom was always not the most maternal person. Go to the first episode as to why I gained weight. And so ultimately, she should have felt bad for me that I was in this situation. But I think part of her is like, well, what are we doing? We lock all the junk food, you break into it, you order food illegally, you steal money from our purse so you can binge eat. What are we supposed to do? So I think there was kind of just mutual anger. I'm sure at this point too, as I mentioned in that first episode, I was angry at my parents for letting me get this fat. So there was just a lot of dysfunction going on. But guys, post in the comments if you've ever experienced a big and tall store, the euphemistic big and tall store. I'd like to hear from you. Please hit the like button, the notification button, and share with others. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.